What's up everyone, John from ARTV. It's time for a review of the new EP by California alternative band The Neighbourhood. They've been kind of quiet in recent times. They put out their album Wiped Out in 2015, and if you watched my channel, you saw the review, you saw the crazy Neighbourhood fans saying my opinion wasn't valid, but I said that album was pretty shit, and I stand by that. Daddy Issues, one of the worst songs that I have heard in a while, and I was reminded of it recently, obviously with this EP release. Doesn't hold up at all. In fact, it's probably gotten even a little bit worse with time. Now, that being said, I was a huge fan of their debut. It did not get good reviews. It's sitting at a 48 out of 100 on Metacritic. That's not saying many good things right there from critics. But I defended it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 for I Love You, and I stand by most of what I said there. I think it was a nice, atmospheric, brooding, kind of emotionally tense album that was a debut, but it saw room for growth. And I felt like they just kind of slid and wiped out, essentially, obviously, with that second album. But with this new EP, I think things are trending a bit upwards, and I'm happy to see that, because as much as I had so much disdain for that last release, I wanted to see them do something, and these mixtapes that they were dropping were awful. That last album was really bad, but here it actually seems like they're doing a cool thing that actually makes them stand out again by blending elements of R&B, hip-hop, electronic music with alternative, and it's actually cooking up something that I'm interested in listening to. Jesse Rutherford is the leader of this band. He writes the majority of the lyrics, and that's something that I have taken issue with in the past, even on their debut. As I liked the stylings, I always felt like the lyrics were a little bit weak and then easily toppled over, especially as you kept looking into them. And I will say that it seems like he's improved a bit, and it seems like he's getting somewhat more introspective, at least in an interesting way that sounds convincing. And on tracks like You Get Me So High, he opens up about the band's success. Now, obviously, if you've been following The Neighbourhood for a while, you might know the song Sweater Weather, which was huge for them. Went 2 times platinum in the United States. It was kind of big worldwide, and it was just kind of a minimal song that I really like. It had just like a lingering staying power to it for some reason, just kind of a chill indie tune with a little bit of a spark. I know a lot of people were kind of mixed on it, but it was one of my favorite tracks that came out in 2013. Now, with this new song that I'm talking about here, You Get Me So High, he's speaking to the success and the heights that they reached so quickly, and they just automatically thought, like, oh, we're the next thing, we're this next big band. And whenever that didn't pan out, things started looking a little bit disparaging for the group, because they didn't know what to do with themselves. They didn't know how to handle that success, if they were going to get cocky or if they were just going to completely fall off, whatever it was. So I think that they've definitely taken some time, and it seems like this EP is just a recalculation. And for the most part, I am enjoying this overall. This track that I just pointed out there is definitely a huge highlight, probably my favorite on the entire EP. You Get Me So High plays with synthesizers, a nice vocal melody, which is something that I'm actually excited to see from The Neighbourhood once again, and that continues into the next track, Noise, which kind of talks about things, how people are just doing things to do them, and The Neighbourhood actually want to have some meaning, seemingly, in their music, and I stand by what they're saying. I can't disagree with the fact that kids are making noise just because it's something to do. That's why we've seen the uptick of all of these just, well, for a while, I guess they were referred to as Vine songs, and now they're just viral trends and people getting popular because, you know, anybody can make a song now. It's a weird day and age that we live in now, and I think that Rutherford was touching on that there, and I really like Noise as it has a nice guitar line on it, but it also kind of has a more upbeat feel, something that The Neighbourhood should definitely do more of, because this song is very catchy, but it's also a lot louder than a lot of the stuff that they've done, because so much of it is moody and atmospheric, and it gets into this brooding vibe, and if that's the case every single time, people quickly lose interest, people like myself, and you don't come back to their projects. Now with this, it's got a little bit more of a stick to it, something that I could hear myself playing down the road. Right after that, they do continue that trend with the next track that is a little bit too hyper, I think, in my opinion. 24/7, he's talking about being there for someone, and it's kind of an oddball song for them because the chorus does not line up with the verses. In fact, it kind of clunkily fits together, and that's one of my least favorite aspects of it. Despite the fact that it is moving at a kind of rapid pace, which is a bit unsettling in its own way, me, it actually does sound pretty good with the verses, but then we get to that chorus and it kind of slows up a bit, and the tempo of the song overall, it's something that you can't quite put your finger on, but it just sounds off. Overall, this EP definitely has a pretty solid vibe to it. It opens up with Roll Call, a song that I'm not huge on, and then closes out with Sadderdaze, which I admire the fact that they even got some orchestration going on there, along with the synthesizers that we've been seeing all throughout. I think they were done tastefully for the most part. Definitely some better guitar and drum parts. I'm talking actual drums, not just programmed drums, and that's something that definitely stands out to me, especially on highlights like You Get Me So High, and of course Noise, my two favorites from this EP. But overall, I feel like a bit of a punch is definitely still lacking, but it's nice to see them actually growing, and I think learning from some of the mistakes that they've made. They saw a lot of success very early on, and I understand that that can be very hard to manage, so I do hope that they continue to grow as a band and move forward in maybe more of this direction. It's by no means perfect, but it's definitely better. Me personally, I think that this is going to have a moderate replay factor. Fans are going to be pleased, and I think that if you're into like alternative and kind of vibey music in general, then give this a listen. I think you might enjoy it. For me personally, I'm gonna give the new EP Hard by The Neighbourhood a 3.5 out of 5. Anyways guys, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. Please comment those down below in the comment section tastefully and respectfully. Don't forget to drop a like on the video, and if you'd like to see my review of The Neighbourhood's last album, you can tap that right there, or another alternative review right here. All of my social media links are in the description, and other than that, I'll see you very soon right here on ARTV.